Welcome ladies and gentlemen to my heavy armor stem DK PvP build. I call this Syvarra's Revenge. You will see in a second why. I've already uploaded some badass PvP footage, so go check it out. You will find the written form of the guide on alcasthq.com. So let's just check our stats. Those stats are on the sword and board bar. We have the Serpent Mundus. We sit at 2.46k weapon damage, almost 2k stamina recovery, 37k stamina, 27k health and 11k magicka. Those stats are fully buffed, okay? So the stamina recovery is with the two-hander passive active. I will tell you soon why. So it doesn't look like we have a lot of weapon damage, but it doesn't matter because we put a lot of pressure on the enemy with our dots. We have a shit ton of dots and you will see in a second why. Anyway, let's get started. Okay, so I want to go over the gear, then champion points, skills, and at the end I will show you some combos and rotations you can make and what skills to use in which situation. So let's check out the gear. So I do have 5 pieces Black Rose. This set is really strong. It's one of the best heavy armor sets at the moment out there. It got a little bit buffed, not the set itself, but because of how the heavy armor works. So you see, increase the magicka and stamina restoration benefit from constitution passive by 40%, and it gives you weapon and spell damage. So what does the heavy armor passive do? So you see, increase the first bonus is not important, the second one also restores magic and stamina each time you are hit, but only once every 4 seconds. So amount restored is increased per piece of heavy armor equipped. So I have 5 pieces heavy armor, so I get 1.3k stamina magicka back every 4 seconds. Together with being red guard, which I get another 1.1k stamina back every 3 seconds. This is a ton of stamina. That's why a red guard is a must-have for this build. Yes, if you don't have a red guard, which you really should have at this point, because a red guard stem DK is the best shit you can have in game at the moment, then you just need some more stamina recovery, but I really recommend have a red guard with this build. Then I have put impenetrable traits on all pieces if possible, if you have. So 5 pieces Black Rose, I have here Tri-Stack Glyph, here Tri-Stack Glyph. Then 2 pieces Bloodspawn. I really love Bloodspawn, gives me extra stamina recovery plus more physical and spell resistance and more ulti-gen. Ulti-gen is important because of the DK passive. Where is it? Battle Roar. Every time we use the ultimate we get a ton of resources back, so that's really cool. So every time I use my Dawnbreaker it gives me a ton of resources back, and this process is sped up by Bloodspawn because we get more ulti points here. Now the featured set on this build, I said before, I call this Syvarra's Revenge. That's why we use the Syvarra scale set. So just to show you what it does, the 5-piece bonus is a 5% chance when dealing damage to cause a burst of Lamia poison, deal 1.2k poison damage, and enemies hit get the dot, which deals 7.3k over 6 seconds. So is this the best set? No, it is not. Is it the coolest looking set? Yes, it is. So technically speaking, you could slap on Fasala scale and be like a lot more effective, but this set is pretty cool, so that's why I use it, and I like it because it gives another dot. We have a lot of dots and a lot of PvPers struggle with dots on them. So let's just see, I have 2 weapon damage glyphs on neck and the ring, and then I have a stamina recovery here. This is just a purple one I think, so a golden one will give more. Plus I use the shield. If you can get it in impenetrable, get it in impenetrable. I couldn't find one, so yeah. And I use an axe sharpened with poison damage enchantment on there. Syvarra's comes in all armor, jewelry and weapons. I think weapon maybe only axe, but you can find all the pieces. So on my second bar I use a axe. It doesn't matter what axe you can use a random axe, but it needs to be a two-hander axe because of this here. Where is it? The middle one. Axe grants your melee attack 60% chance to apply a bleed, dealing 10k damage over 6 seconds. So this bleed ticks for like 3k. It crits for 3k in PvP. So you can use a random one. Make sure it's an axe. If you don't have a maelstrom weapon, slap another enchantment on there, like Disease Glyph for example. Then instead of Bloodspawn you also can use a Malubev. Malubev is really strong, but again the extra ulti gen is really powerful. So that's my setup. So now I just want to show you what the Syvarra set looks like so you actually know what's going on. So before we actually go in, so what does it do? Again, like it procs on everything, right? So it procs on all my dots, it procs on everything, so I can use my dot on the second bar, swap back, and it will proc from the damage of the dots. Okay, so I've seen it's like this disease spray thingy, and you see it's AoE damage, so it went off on the Wraith, but it hit the other two mobs as well, and they're staying pretty far away, so the range is actually not too bad, okay? So that's about it, about the set, how it looks like. Okay, now champion points. I have 70 points in Mighty, 40 points Thaumaturge, so we get 13% more dot damage and 20% more like physical poison and disease damage. 30 points in Shattering Blows. The reason why I have 30 here is Riposte on block, 15% chance to deal 4k damage to the enemy. And 27 in Blessed for increased healing. You don't need this if you don't want it, but I recommend having it there. Then 67 in Mooncalf for more stamina recovery, and 100 in Warlord. Cost reduction is important. Now here 87 in Hardy and 87 in Elemental Defender. You can play around with those, but it's just important that you get the Unchained passive. Again, you can play around. If you think you don't need that much points there, you can put some in Resistance, for example. It's really up to you. So that's it about the champion points. If you want a closer look into those, just check it out, and it works like this, okay? It's a really decent champion points setup. I really like it. Now to the skills. So as you see, we have a sword and board, two-hander setup. My first skill, Reverberating Bash. This one is really important. Nice stun, plus it gives Mage Defile, reducing enemies healing by 30%, which is really important in this patch. Then our Gap Closer Invasion stuns up to 88% longer based on the distance traveled. It deals a really nice damage, it's cool. Heroic Slash, our skill to use with light attack and bash. Animation cancelling, plus you see you gain minor heroism, granting you one ultimate every 1.5 seconds. So we have Bloodspawn plus this ulti gen. It's really cool, and we have a lot of ultimates. Then Vigor, our main heal, a really great dot. Igneous Shield, so you see the second text, you also gain Major Mending, increasing your healing down by 25%. So this one, the shield is not that big, but it buffs our healing by 25%. That's why it's really cool. Plus we get this, wait, where is it? This one, Mountain's Blessing, increasing weapon damage by 5% every time you use one of those abilities. So you get another 5% weapon damage. Pretty cool. Then we have Dawnbreaker, our main damage ultimate and stun. You see enemies hit are also knocked down for 2.7 seconds. So you can use this as a AoE stun, and it will put the dot on all the enemies. So if you have this dot and the Dawnbreaker dot on the enemy, it will deal a lot of damage. Second bar, our two-hander, Rally, one of our nice heals, quite cool burst heal. Venomous Claw, actually one of the strongest dots in the game. Reverse Slice, so you can choose Execution here, but I like the Reverse Slice because it deals damage to your enemies which are close in a 5 meters range, which can be really helpful. Noxious Breath debuffs the enemy with Major Fracture, giving them like less armor. So the dot is not itself that strong, but we debuff the enemy with the armor debuff. So pretty cool. Now here, Rearming Trap, really fucking strong dot. Enemies can't see it, like the amount of people that walk into this here, if you kite them around the trap is insane, and it deals a ton of damage, believe me, plus they get rooted. Then Corrosive Armor, you can use this in case it gets tough, because it's like really strong. You debuff the enemy by 100% plus, you have 10 seconds of God mode. Then, now, two-hander passive, let me see, where is it here? Increase your stamina recover by 30% for 10 seconds after killing a target. So, my unbuffed I sit at 1.4k, if I buff myself at 1.6k, if I kill somebody with reverse slice, I sit at almost 2k. That's why killing people with reverse slice is important. Again, we use an axe because of the bleed. The bleed goes through shields, so it can really fucking hurt shield spammers. So again, if you don't think Venomous Claw is useful or Trap, you can use Reflective Scales, for example, here. You can use Shuffle if you want. It's really up to you. You need to decide. I just like the dots, because the dots deal so much damage this page. Anyway, let's move on to the rotations and combos we can make. So now in terms of combos, there's a few things you need to understand. You need to always make sure to have Igneous Shield up and Rally most of the times, and like every 15 seconds you can use your Rally heal to burst heal you back up. But really, like Igneous and Vigor is a lot of heals. So now, Noxious Breath can't be dodge rolled. So you can put it on the enemy easy. Venomous Claw can be dodge rolled. So what I usually do is, people don't see Reverberating Bash because you're basically close to them and then you bash. So I use this, immediately swap over, use Venomous Claw to put the dot on the enemy, then Noxious Breath, swap back, and I do like light attack, heroic slash, bash, just to show you that. I bash him, swap forward, do this, swap back, light attack, heroic slash, bash. It's really fast, you have to learn the animation canceling. You see? Those are always free attacks. So when I do it slow, it's a light attack, heroic slash, and the bash. And when I do it fast, you almost don't see it. That's why does this work, or how does this work? Because the program or the mechanic like prioritizes stuff. So you kind of use the skill, the heroic slash, to cancel your light attack, and use the bash to cancel your skill, because it's like this order. That's what you need to understand, and you need to practice that. Light attack, heroic slash, bash. It's really fast, you really need to learn that. That's how we need to, like in a fight, you always need to make sure to keep your rotation up and your dots, so don't just spam 24/7 light attack slash bash. The moment his CC runs out, you need to use Reverberating Bash to stun him, swap back, use Venomous Claw and this. And between every skill you need to use a light attack, because light attacks can proc the heavy like the ox bleed from the ox two-hander, which is another really strong dot, and it goes through shields. That's what you need to understand. Then again, what you also can do is, like, the Dawnbreaker is really strong, so when you Dawnbreaker a dude, make sure that you put the dots, like River Bash him, Venomous Claw, put the dots, swap back, and the moment his CC immunity runs out, you use a Dawnbreaker, swap to your bar and use Reverse Slice. You really need to understand those combos you can make, otherwise you will not really have success, but that's with all the builds. So it's just a matter of practice. Another thing, before I forget it, on the two-hander for example, you also could use Brawler here. It's like, it doesn't do a lot of damage, but you see, where is it? You deal 3.7k physical damage and causing them to bleed for an additional 6k physical damage. So if you have this and the Brawler and the Syvarra set on the enemy, that's 3 dots. They don't do a lot of damage, but if you sum up the damage, it's quite a lot of pressure you put on the enemy, and on a lot of enemies, not only on one. Then again, you need to practice. It's not easy to do, but that's with everything. Every build needs practice. So again, check out my PvP footage, look what I do in what situations, so you can learn from it. If you have any questions, make sure to ask me in the comment section. If you like the video, don't forget to hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching and see you soon. Cheers.